The city says Albuquerque drivers owe millions in unpaid red light camera fines. Good evening, I'm Dean Staley.
And I'm Jessica Goddard. The red light cameras will soon be gone, but if you still have a ticket, do you have to pay it? News 13's Amanda Goodman reports.
The city says if you have a citation from one of these cameras, don't throw it out just yet. For more than 6 years, red light cameras have been flashing, snapping, and ticketing away drivers who run red lights at certain Albuquerque intersections. Then, earlier this month, the city council followed the wishes of the majority of people who voted to repeal the red light camera ordinance. But before the cameras go dark, there's some unfinished business to take care of.
There's $20 million that is still to be collected, and that is over the life of the program.
You heard him right. As of today, there's $20 million in unpaid red light camera tickets since 2005. And the city says just because the cameras are going dark doesn't mean drivers with unpaid tickets are going to get a pass.
Tickets that were issued when the ordinance was in effect are still going to be valid and enforceable.
The city says it's up to Redflex, the company that holds the contract for the red light cameras, to collect on the unpaid tickets. It then gives a portion of the money to the city and the state. Typically, Redflex sends out 2 notices asking people to pay up, then nothing after that. Whether or not Redflex decides to step up its collection efforts is still being decided.
That's going to be something that we're going to be discussing with Redflex in terms of, as we enter into the termination process, how those outstanding amounts could be collected.
Not surprisingly, Albuquerque drivers we talked with said the city should just figure out a way to wipe the slate clean.
I think they should let them go, the old ones, if they're unpaid.
I think it's just a burden on people that can't afford it.
When I asked the city attorney if he thought people were going to pay up, especially now that the ordinance has been repealed, he said he hopes so. In Northeast Albuquerque, Amanda Goodman, KRQE News 13.
The city says its share of any money collected from unpaid fines will be used for public safety. A big storm will bring big changes to the state.
Mark Ronchetti has a first look at your forecast.
Well, you guys, we are looking at a big-time change here. Will not happen tomorrow. Tomorrow looks good. Mostly sunny skies, and temperatures going to be in the 50s and 60s across most of the state. The real change starts early on Thursday. We already have a high wind watch in effect for Bernalillo County, down into Valencia County, and throughout a good portion of Socorro County as well. Throughout the day on Thursday, we could see wind gusts in excess of 50 miles an hour here in the city. Now, that's not actually the storm. It's actually a cold front that's going to knock temperatures way down across the state. And then we get ready for probably a 1-2 punch of 2 different storms coming in Friday and Saturday, maybe even Sunday across the state. So there's some significant changes coming up. Right now, though, clear skies out there, a cool night on the way, and we'll talk about what you can expect coming up.
The optometrist arrested after police found a stash of drugs and guns in his Albuquerque home will go to rehab instead of jail. Officers doing a welfare check found 61-year-old Philip Simmons passed out inside his house back in August. They also found marijuana, heroin, 52 guns, and 10,000 rounds of ammo. In court today, Simmons, an admitted heroin addict, agreed to hand over most of the guns and go into drug treatment. He'll be on probation for 3 years.
A suspected cross-state drug smuggler is tripped up by a stupid mistake. She allegedly told police she was able to get a large amount of marijuana through multiple airports 3 other times. But as News 13's Scott Daniels reports, her 4th try made an Albuquerque jail her final destination.
The suspected drug mule was traveling from Tucson to Dallas yesterday. When her connecting flight stopped here in Albuquerque, police had her cornered.
It passed through security.
20-year-old Misha Bell from Wichita Falls, Texas, checked in her 2 bags in Tucson. Police say they were packed with pot. One suitcase with 30 pounds of marijuana was confiscated by TSA in Tucson. The other made it this far to Albuquerque. But police didn't know what Bell looked like until she slipped up.
She actually checked with the airline to verify her bags made the trip, which allowed us to identify her physically.
Police caught up with her by her flight's gate. A drug-sniffing dog found her suitcase among all of the checked-in bags. Police then had probable cause, and when they opened up Bell's luggage, voila. Police say they took the pot right here and weighed it on the baggage scale, weighing 33.5 pounds.
Absolutely. It's accurate and checked on a regular basis.
Police say Bell had been paid to smuggle the marijuana for a drug dealer. For her troubles, she would get $850 if she made it successfully to Dallas. The 20-year-old admitted to police she had done this before, but police say she's no pro.
I would say so far it's been dumb luck, nothing more.
Instead of making it to Texas, Bell made her first appearance today in Metro Court. She's charged with marijuana possession.
Airline ticket, money for food, money for a hotel, and then $850 cash. For some people, sounds like a deal.
Right now, Bell is facing state charges, but could also face federal charges. She could also face charges in Tucson, where one of her bags was confiscated. At the Sunport, Scott Daniels, KRQE News 13.
In all, more than 65 pounds of the illegal drug were kept off the streets. Police say the plan was for Bell to arrive in Dallas, make a switch for the money, then turn around and do it all over again.
An Albuquerque man is accused of pulling a shotgun on a couple of 14-year-olds because he thought they stole his pot. 19-year-old Gerardo Pares is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, child abuse, and tampering with evidence. Police say he held a gun on the teens outside of a mobile home near Zuni in Wyoming last night. Officers say he blamed the kids for stealing his backpack that had marijuana in it. Just a day earlier, a 19-year-old named Jonathan Escobar was arrested for holding a gun to another 14-year-old boy's head in a dispute near UNM over pot. Police don't think the incidents are related. New Mexico State University is considering taking another shot at selling alcohol at sporting events. The NMSU president told the Las Cruces Sun News that they are taking steps to get beer and wine flowing at Aggie games. Regents tried to get licenses to sell beer and wine at the Pan American Center back in 2006, but they were shot down by former Governor Bill Richardson, who was in the midst of an anti-alcohol campaign. The state would have to sign off before liquor can be sold at Pan Am, which could take up to a year.
Well, the wife of a Columbus, New Mexico trustee accused in a major gun smuggling case will go to trial next month. Gabrielle Gutierrez, the wife of Blas Gutierrez, has pleaded not guilty to conspiracy, making false statements, and smuggling. Her trial is scheduled for December 12th. That's the first in the case. 12 others have accepted plea deals, and a 13th defendant is on the run. Prosecutors say Gabrielle Gutierrez helped buy firearms in the U.S., knowing those weapons would be smuggled to Mexico.
President Obama is calling on Iran to punish the rioters who trashed the British embassy today in the capital. The protesters brought down the British flag and burned an embassy vehicle in a show of anger over the latest Western sanctions to punish Iran over its nuclear program. Today, President Obama suggested the Iranian government may have allowed the mob attack to happen.
They have a responsibility to protect diplomatic outposts. That is a basic international obligation that all countries need to observe. And for rioters essentially to be able to overrun the embassy and set it on fire is an indication that the Iranian government is not taking its international obligations seriously.
The Western sanctions were imposed after a UN nuclear watchdog report published new evidence Iran is trying to develop a nuclear weapon, a charge Tehran denies.
The parent company of American Airlines, one of the largest air carriers in the nation, has filed for bankruptcy protection. AMR Corporation blames high fuel and labor costs. American has lost almost $5 billion since 2007. Some analysts say American will have to seek wage concessions to make up for the losses. Leaders of employee unions say they are ready to fight if that happens. Blistering remarks from a California judge today as he sentenced Michael Jackson's doctor, Conrad Murray, to the maximum of 4 years. The judge said the infamous recording of a drugged-up Jackson stood out the most to him during this case.
That tape recording was Dr. Murray's insurance policy. It was designed to record his patient surreptitiously at that patient's most vulnerable point.
Murray may serve only half his sentence due to California's jail overcrowding. Well, Mark has just how low the temps will get in his full forecast coming up.
Plus, how an infamous New Mexico outlaw brought a lot of money to the state this summer and how that money is going to be spent.
And later on, News 13 at 9, it happened in a small town where everyone knows your business. So why has the search for who killed a family there gone cold? Details ahead.
Hi, this is Captain Tom Ablin. in the tropical paradise that is Anderson Air Force Base, Guam. Wishing my parents, John and Trudy Ablin in Taos, New Mexico, a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Brought to you by your neighborhood Napa Auto Care Center.
Now, from the Newsplex, Dean Staley, Jessica Goddity, Chief Meteorologist Mark Ronchetti, and Van Tate with sports. This is KRQE News 13 at 9 in high definition.
It was a treasure hunt for a famous New Mexico outlaw, and a treasure is exactly what it brought in.
As News 13 Selena Westervelt reports, the state tourism department says the Billy the Kid advertising campaign generated a lot more money than it cost. And now there are more big plans ahead.
The state spent $640,000 on its Catch the Kid campaign. Now that's nearly half of its annual advertising budget. But how much of that did we actually get back?
We're gonna catch Billy the Kid!
We caught him here in Silver City in 1875.
July's Catch the Kid campaign sent people on a statewide hunt tracking down infamous outlaw Billy the Kid while visiting tourist destinations. The state cabinet secretary of tourism says it really paid off.
We generated over $4 to $5 million in direct economic impact, which is just incredible.
The state spent $640,000 on the multimedia campaign and say the money generated was pumped right back into the economy, spent at local hotels, businesses, restaurants, and museums. Money it says keeps New Mexicans working and ensures economic growth.
The tourism industry is actually the second largest industry in the state of New Mexico in terms of economic impact. So while it's fun and we need New Mexicans traveling around New Mexico, it's also really important that people understand what a big impact it is.
To make sure revenue continues to grow, the department launched a new website called Give the Gift of Travel. It will offer spa deals, fishing packages, and even ski deals for under $100. And there's a new campaign that will cost $400,000, but the state expects it to produce at least $5 million in return. But with deep state budget cuts across the board, why spend millions on advertising?
You put it here because of the return you get on those dollars. We are running this department like an investment engine.
The $400,000 Centennial campaign is similar to the Catch the Kid campaign, and it launches in January. You can find a link to the Give the Gift of Travel website at our website. Just go to krqe.com. Selena Westervelt, KRQE News 13.
The state says the $5 million estimated payoff from the Billy the Kid campaign is based on information from businesses and local chambers of commerce.
Here's something we like to hear. Another New Mexico ski resort gearing up to open. Ski Santa Fe announced today it will officially open this Saturday. They'll have an 18-inch base of natural and man-made snow by then. Taos, Ski Apache, Sipapu, and Red River are already up and running. Sandia is looking to open around the middle of December.
Favorite time of year.
Little help
It is good.
Little help from Mark on this one, right?
Yeah, and we may well get it in a huge way, a way that we haven't seen in a long, long time. This storm has potential. Now, we'll see if it ends up happening. But for the mountains, I think we've got a pretty good shot at a real good snowstorm. Here in the metro, not out of the question. Yay. All right, may want to get the snow tires on. Thinking about it myself. All right, let's show you what's going on. We start with, all right, that's a great looking shot.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so Adriana Newell sends us shots once in a while, and she's a pro. And you can tell she's very good. But an amazing shot there. And tonight, largely clear skies, so things look good. Tomorrow, pretty good as well. Then the wheels come flying off, and we end up on Thursday with a ton of wind. High wind watches here for the Rio Grande Valley. We're likely to see winds gusting over 50 miles an hour. Sustained 35 to 45, a possibility as we start to see cold air pushing in from the east, and we'll get into details on that in just a moment. 45 degrees in the metro. Northwest winds right now at 3 miles an hour. Across the north, it's already cold in Alamosa, 19 degrees, 36 in Raton, 32 Las Vegas, 29 in Santa Fe, and across the south, temperatures for the most part in the 30s and 40s right now. Satellite and radar shows there's not much to worry about cloud cover wise, and throughout the day tomorrow we'll have a few clouds streaming across the north, but it's still going to be a nice day. Temperatures, which across the east today dropped significantly with a cold front overnight and into this morning, that's going to go away, and we'll see things warm back up again across the state tomorrow. But that's a one-day reprieve because we start to see those major league changes coming in beyond that. So here's a look at your storm report. Right now the storm is off the Pacific Northwest coast. It's actually working its way through really southern British Columbia, coming in our direction. Thursday through Sunday is the time frame we're watching. That is a long time frame for a storm here, mainly because this thing's going to come in a few different pieces, and we could end up even keeping some stuff going into Sunday morning. Heavy mountain snows, I think, are a really good bet. Valley snow is a possibility, and that's still the big debatable point on what's going to happen and whether that's going to happen and set up near the metro. Much colder air. That's a virtual certainty. So the bust potential on this continues to go down. We're going to get the cold air, and I think we're going to get the mountain snow. The question is, will we get metro snow? And that's what we'll iron out as we get closer to this particular storm. So let's start by talking about the winds. Tomorrow they're not going to be a huge factor, but a very strong cold front's going to push in on Thursday. That is going to push that cold air through the canyon and speed it up here into the metro. We're also likely to see enough cold air and enough deep cold air to roll right over the East Mountains here and pick up speed as well as it comes down into the valley. So the winds are going to be a really big deal on Thursday, starting in the morning and lasting throughout most of the day. Could see some gusts as high as 60, maybe 65 miles an hour as this comes through. Areas to watch, mouth of the canyon, that'll be the worst of it. So along I-40, you could end up some really tricky winds out there. And this is sort of a precursor, because what we do is fire that cold air in across the state, let it set up, and then the actual storm system comes in. So whatever we get out of this storm as it approaches us here for really Friday and Saturday will likely be snow, because the cold air will be set up in place and then the low comes in. Oftentimes they have to time each other up, and it's really close on whether we have the cold air in place. That's not going to be the case here. The cold air is going to be in place, so the possibility of snow really starts to ramp up, especially Friday afternoon and throughout the day on Saturday. So we'll watch all of this very closely, but it's going to be really interesting because this thing has potential, again, to even bring snow into the valleys here as well. I wouldn't get too excited about it yet for the metro, but it's possible. Temperatures for the most part tomorrow, 40s and 50s, and then increasing clouds and increasing chances of snow for the San Juans. 56 in Farmington, 54 Cuba, 59 in Grants, partly cloudy tomorrow, and then increasing chances at picking up rain snow mixes for later on in the work week. 62 Deming, 62 in TRC for tomorrow. Watch Friday and Saturday across the southwest as well for rain snow mixes in the higher elevations and rain in the valleys. 67 Carlsbad, 68 Roswell, and 49 in Cloudcroft. Mostly sunny with the chance at picking up some snow coming up on Friday into Saturday. 69 Concha, 63 in Springer, so a nice temperature rebound. But look at the high on Saturday in Las Vegas, 24 degrees, mostly cloudy with snow possible. 52 in Santa Fe, 51 in Taos. Temperatures cratering to just 29 for a high on Saturday with a good chance at some snow. East Mountains temperatures for the most part 50s and 60s. Winds out of the south 10 to 20 tomorrow. Find them right here in the metro. Our temperatures, high 50s, low to mid 60s. Winds out of the south 10 to 15. Check it out here, though. Thursday, a lot of wind with a high of just 46. So that's the first cold front. There's another bigger cold front coming in for Saturday. And look at Sunday's high. Wow. 37 in the metro with that chance at snow really ramping up Friday afternoon and throughout the day on Saturday.
I like the chance for the accumulation. I also like the passion.
Yeah, Dean, what else can I do? If I can't get fired up about this, I might as well just hang it up.
Nice job.
Thanks.
Well, coming up next, order in the court. A brawl breaks out in the middle of a murder trial.
And it took several decades, but a man finally comes clean what he was hiding after the break.
New at 10.
Want to report a county employee up to no good? Well, be prepared to leave your name and information. I'm Katie Kim. Tonight at 10, why the county may be getting rid of its anonymous tip line.
Switch to KRQE News 13 at 10.
Hi, I'm Captain Dawn Rose, stationed at Bagram Airfield, Afghanistan. Just want to say hi to my family and friends at Holloman Air Force Base, New Mexico. Happy holidays. I miss you and love you, and I'll be home soon.
Brought to you by your neighborhood Napa Auto Care Center.
3 people are dead after a medical transport plane crashed outside of Chicago. An 80-year-old man and his 74-year-old wife died along with the pilot. The twin-engine plane ripped apart trees and barely missed a family home as it crashed in a wooded area near Chicago. 2 others who were on the plane are expected to survive. Violence erupts inside and outside a Massachusetts courtroom during a murder trial. The courtroom was filled with friends and family members of both the victim, 21-year-old Kyle McManus, and the suspects. The brawl broke out after a young woman inside the courtroom told the 4 teens accused in the murder that she loved them. It then continued outside with fists flying. When it was over, 5 people were arrested.
A Washington man haunted with a 60-year-old secret has finally come clean. This weekend, an elderly man walked into the Sears store with an envelope in hand. In it was a confession letter stating that back in the late 40s, he'd stolen about $20 to $30 from the cash register. In the note, there was also a $100 bill. That includes the stolen money plus some interest.
He made restitution. He took the skeleton out of his closet. It doesn't have power over him any longer.
Now, the note said to put the money in the store's theft account, but the store says they will instead donate the money to help disadvantaged families during the holiday season. More news, weather, and sports coming up next on KRQE News 13.
The killer is still out there. How state police are now trying to solve the mysterious murder of a family.
And some brave burglars are hitting one New Mexico town, even busting down doors when the homeowners are there.
And they're nabbing them one by one. Some top property crime offenders are finally off the streets. Tonight at 10, 3 high-profile cases involving teachers accused of doing bad things to kids. Why is it taking so long for them to go to trial?
It was a triple murder that haunts a small northern New Mexico town, and state police say solving it is still a top priority. Welcome back. It has now been more than 5 months since someone used a pickaxe to kill the Ortiz family in El Rancho near Espanola. Police say leads have now gone cold. Here's News 13's Diana Sauceda.
This case has residents in the area worried and baffled. State police say the investigation is ongoing, so they don't have any information on a suspect or a motive. But what they are telling us is they don't have a killer on the loose and they need more tips. It was June 19th, Father's Day in El Rancho, New Mexico. The bodies of Lloyd and Dixie Ortiz and their 21-year-old adopted son, Stephen, were found by a relative who lived nearby. The family owned a tile company. They were bludgeoned to death.
For our investigations bureau out of the northern part of the state, this is the high priority case. This is the #1 case, and that's where all of our resources are dedicated right now.
Despite those efforts, state police have hit a dead end, so they're calling for tips.
Historically, what law enforcement has found is that sometimes the public may have seen something or know something that they think is minuscule or isn't important to the case, and it may turn out to be very important to the case.
Police did find a blood-stained pickaxe at the scene. They also pulled 17 pot plants from the home. They were for medicinal purposes. People in and around El Rancho have been frustrated with the lack of leads in this case. They packed a community meeting back in August where state police said there wasn't a killer on the loose. Today, state police made that claim again.
We have active patrols in the area, as do the sheriff's departments that cover that part of the county, and we don't have any indications that anyone should anticipate further problems as a result of that case.
We asked state police about several guns and ammunition found at the scene. Some of those guns were missing serial numbers. Now, investigators tell us these items are at the state crime lab, and this is an ongoing investigation, so once again, they're not going to release any more information about those weapons. Diana Sauceda, KRQE News 13.
Police have not released a motive for those murders. There is a reward for information that helps police catch the killer or killers. Carlsbad police are searching for a man who shot at a car at the Allsups on National Parks Highway November 20th. A 22-year-old man was hit but is expected to survive. Officers say the shooting stemmed from a fight at the gas station. If you can help solve that crime, call Carlsbad police. A southeastern New Mexico town was hit by some brave burglars this holiday weekend. As Gabrielle Burkhardt reports, police say their tactics were downright scary.
In some of the recent cases, the victims weren't making themselves easy targets, but that didn't stop the thieves who were armed and violent. Over the weekend, there were at least 10 burglaries reported to Roswell police, cases ranging from home break-ins to vehicle burglaries and shoplifting.
This time of year, we tend to see a rise in burglaries. Just goes hand in hand with the season.
At least 3 homes, the crooks kicked in the door, knocking one door completely off the frame. One man was home when someone burst through his front door, pointed a gun at him, and ordered him to get on the ground. But the homeowner had his cell phone in hand and dialed 911. The suspects fled when they realized what he did. Police have some advice on how to prevent this from happening to you.
Let people know you're there. Do something to make them know that they're not alone. It can be potentially dangerous, but they don't want to have to deal with you. Burglaries tend to want to get away versus do harm.
One couple was away for Thanksgiving when burglars kicked in their back door. The crooks went right past the family's pit bull guard dog and proceeded to ransack their house. They stole a TV along with video games, a DVD player, and a rifle. This woman did not want to go on camera, but says she's thankful she wasn't home when burglars hit her apartment over the weekend.
The door was kicked in, the frame was off the door, and they had taken, PlayStation 2, DVD players, all the DVDs. China cabinets were broken, glass everywhere.
Police recommend you take pictures of your expensive belongings, such as electronics and other items popular with thieves. They say doing that, along with recording the serial numbers, will help if those items end up stolen.
Police officers find large stashes of stuff that have been taken from people, and we have no way to return it because we don't have an identity for it.
Most of the items reported stolen over the weekend were electronics. A lot of items people are buying right now as gifts. So far, no arrests have been made. Reporting from Roswell, Gabrielle Burkhart, KRQE News 13.
Another one of Albuquerque's most wanted property crime offenders is off the streets thanks to U.S. Marshals. Jason Mitchell was arrested yesterday at his mother's house 5 years after he was first arrested for burglary in 2006. His picture has been featured on the most wanted property crime offender ad since 2009. U.S. Marshals caught 2 more of the worst offenders this month, Chris Cordova and Raymond Moya. Well, the rumble of the Raptor will be heard loud and clear in the areas around Holloman Air Force Base in Alamogordo. The base says the 49th Fighter Wing will be doing nighttime F-22 Raptor training for the next 2 weeks. They warn there will be more noise and possibly some sonic booms over White Sands. You may also hear it in Otero, Lincoln, and Doña Ana counties. Well, call it how you see it. You can say that might have been what led to the naming of the 1970s Very Large Array Radio Telescope that was upgraded with state-of-the-art technology. The name came after Regents at New Mexico Tech held a contest to rename that array, but they've decided that Very Large Array is the most logical and recognizable choice. The Socorro line of telescopes cover an area larger than Washington, D.C.
Okay, very large.
Yeah.
All right. You ready?
I am.
All right.
Let's do it.
Get right to it. We go to downtown Durango tonight, where it is a nice evening. This is one of the locations in our viewing area that could end up getting some snow coming up later on into the work week and the weekend as well. Pretty cool stuff there. Largely clear skies, and across the state, clear as well. And tomorrow's actually going to be a pretty good day. Before Thursday, it's not going to be such a good day. High wind watch already in effect for Thursday. Really throughout the mid-morning hours and then into the afternoon, we're going to be looking at a tremendous amount of wind. Could see wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour in the Rio Grande Valley here, especially pushing through the canyons and really even over the top of the mountains here. We're going to have that much cold air pooling to our east, so we'll roll a lot of it into the city here and across the state as a whole, and that's really going to set the table for the storm that comes in behind it. That's all going to happen on Friday and Saturday. 45 degrees in the metro. North-northwest winds right now at 3 miles an hour across the north. Temperatures anywhere from around the teens in Alamosa, 20s in Taos and Santa Fe, 33 in Grants, down across the south, temperatures in the 30s and 40s. Today's highs were significantly cooler around areas like Raton, Las Vegas, Tucumcari, and Clovis as a cold front pushed its way through the eastern side of the state. We saw a little bit of a light easterly wind here in the metro, but our temperature was about where it was yesterday, so not a huge impact temperature-wise, and really central and western sections didn't cool down all that much. It was the east that dropped off temperature-wise for today. Tomorrow, you guys in the east are going to jump right back up again with plenty of sunshine across the state. Occasionally, we'll see partly cloudy skies, especially across the north, but it's still going to be a nice day across the majority of the state. And then, well, lots of things start to change. Let's get into what's going to happen first with the temperatures here. And this gives you a good indication of what we're headed for and why it looks like this storm has a lot of potential to be a real problem. Highs for tomorrow still going to be very warm. High 50s here in the metro, 70s around Tucumcari, 60s in Raton, and 60s around Carlsbad and Roswell. Well, as we get into the day on Thursday, look at what happens to the highs. They start to knock down. Just 34 for a high in Raton. 41 in Santa Fe, 46 in Albuquerque, low 50s, Roswell and Carlsbad. Then another blast of cold air over the weekend, and it gets really cold. In Raton, a high of 27. Las Vegas, by the way, a high of 24 over the weekend. 29 Santa Fe, Albuquerque just 37, and 30s in the Roswell and Carlsbad areas. So we have a lot of cold air that's going to be flowing in with this storm. So anytime you have cold air in place, you could end up cranking up your snow ratios, especially over the mountains, where you can get huge snow amounts, and even in valley sections, it could be pretty tricky. So for tomorrow, a mild day on the way, and then we get that first cold front that comes throughout the day on Thursday. The front knocks temperatures down quite a bit, by about 15 degrees at least across the state, more across the east, and of course we get the tremendous wind in the metro area. Then we drop the storm down, and that pushes on through. For Friday and Saturday, this may actually end up sticking around until Sunday with a second piece coming down behind it here, and we could be looking at widespread snow as a possibility. We'll keep you posted on that as we get a little closer. 40s and 50s across southern Colorado for tomorrow, and then the increasing chance of getting snow, and especially over mountain sections, quite a bit of accumulating snow, a real likelihood. 59 in Gallup, 61 in Chinle, Farmington at 56, increasing chances of getting wet or white coming up on Friday. 62 in Deming, 63 in Alamogordo, and 64 in Socorro for tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine, and then it looks like clouds start to increase, and over the weekend, increasing chances at getting some showers. 68 in Roswell, 66 in Clovis, and 67 in Fort Sumner. Mostly sunny, but much colder by Friday and Saturday with the chance of some snow. 63 in Springer, 53 in Mora, and 68 in Santa Rosa. Increasing clouds and snow as well. North and mainly the northern mountains here. This looks like a real potential for a big-time start the season off snowstorm, which could measure well over a foot at the resorts. 56 in Estancia, 61 in Tejares, 61 in Cedar Crest. Plenty of sun for tomorrow. Same deal here in the metro. Plenty of sunshine for tomorrow. A little breezy at times, but not a big deal compared to what we're going to get on Thursday with those wind gusts close to 60 miles an hour. And then by Friday and Saturday, Dean, especially late Friday, Saturday, if we're going to get snow in the metro, Friday night into Saturday will be our best shot to see that here. Not out of the question that we could see some accumulation, but we're a little early to get too cranked up about that.
All right, nice to hear it. Mark, thank you.
You bet.
Well, New Mexico is leading the way with the first lawsuit from the deadly listeria outbreak from tainted cantaloupe. A Seattle company filed the suit on behalf of 96-year-old Florence Wilcox of Hobbs. That lawsuit is against Colorado's Jensen Farms and 2 state auditors. The lawsuit alleges food safety inspectors gave the cantaloupe farm a clean bill of health just weeks before the contaminated fruit was discovered. Wilcox was one of 5 New Mexicans to die in that outbreak. A nationwide manhunt is over for a New Jersey man suspected of killing his 2-year-old daughter by tossing her into a creek while she was still strapped in her car seat. The U.S. Marshal's Office says a tip led them to Arthur Morgan III this afternoon at a house in San Diego. An angry ex-husband charged in a deadly shooting rampage at a Southern California hair salon entered a not guilty plea today. Scott DeCry allegedly killed his ex-wife and 7 other people on October 12th. He faces 8 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of attempted murder. Prosecutors plan to seek the death penalty. Well, following a record-setting Black Friday and holiday shopping weekend, Cyber Monday pushed sales through the roof. A new report from Sales Tracker says online sales rose 33% compared to last year. The report shows cyber shoppers also spent about 2.5% more on their purchases. Well, Shaka Claus is trying to make this holiday season brighter for boys and girls who are less fortunate. Shaquille O'Neal shopped for toys at Toys R Us in Culver City, California Monday. The former Laker is teaming up with the Marines for their Toys for Tots drive. All the toys donated will be distributed to children across the Los Angeles area in time for Christmas.
16 million kids will wake up this Christmas without toys. So if I could dip into that number a little bit, and you know, if we all can dip into that number a little bit, I think it's a nice thing.
This is the 3rd year that Shaq has lent his star power to that program. Well, the Lobo football team prepares to finish off its season against a nationally ranked team. Ben has more coming up in sports. If you take pictures with your smartphone, beware. Those pictures may be telling secrets about you that you don't want people to know. I'm Dean Staley. That story in my special assignment tonight on News 13 at 10.
Coming up at 10.
Investigators say they preyed on children at the one place they were supposed to be safe, school. But these 3 top offenders haven't spent any time in court. I'm Alex Tomlin. I'll tell you what's happening with their cases tonight at 10.
Switch to KRQE News 13 at 10.
B-ball up first. They started tonight at 5-1. The New Mexico State Aggies entertaining thoughts of making the win total 6 and sending the Arizona Wildcats away with the loss. Aggies and Wildcats in Las Cruces, and Wendell McKinnis says, "Let me have it from three-point range." McKinnis back-to-back threes, and all of a sudden, Aggies are up 10-2. McKinnis on his way to a big night. Nick Johnson for the Wildcats, the answer. Wildcats would lead at 44-40 at the half. Nick Johnson, 19 points. Second half, more Wendell McKinnis. McKinnis, 28 points, 10 rebounds, but not enough tonight. Aggies fall 83-76. They're at Southern Mississippi December 4th. He has played his best basketball on the road. Lobo guard Hugh Greenwood gets a chance to show the hometown crowd what they have been missing tomorrow night when Idaho State comes to the pit. The freshman point guard got his first start on the road at Arizona State and has impressed in 4 straight games on the road. Each game, Greenwood has been turnover-free while handling the basketball for the Lobos.
Getting close to 100, over 100 minutes of play without a turnover against the people we've played, and all those teams being away from home, that's pretty impressive for anybody, let alone a freshman. So he's doing a very good job of what we want done defensively and a very good job of getting us in an offense.
The bye week is over. That means the Lobo football team will end its season on the road at Boise State. The Broncos, the 7th-ranked team in the country, still have a lot to play for. The Broncos are 49-point favorites to win the game. In fact, one football website says the Lobos have only a 1% chance to have success in their final outing. George Barlow will be leading his final game as Lobo interim head coach. He hopes his seniors will rally the team and put on a good showing.
We haven't talked about them, possibly running up the score or anything of that nature. What we just talked to them about is just trying to continue what we're doing, just continue to get better, continue to go out and give, maximum effort, cut down on the mistakes. And if we can do that, then we'll give ourselves a chance to, win in fourth quarter.
Metro basketball and the Lobos' next opponent, Idaho State, coming up on KRQE News 13 at 10 o'clock. Now, Dean Staley returns after the break.
Hello, my name is Major Marcy Hodge at Bagram Airfield Base in Afghanistan. I want to wish a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to my sister Mary Beverly and my nieces and nephews, Matthew, Cameron, Kaya, and Daniel.
Brought to you by your neighborhood Napa Auto Care Center.
Chick-fil-A is trying to get a Vermont businessman to stop urging people to eat more kale. Jack Thurston explains why the slogan is ruffling the chicken chain's feathers.
Bo Muller-Moore calls himself a micro businessman.
And I love doing it.
But he has a mega problem.
This is ridiculous.
He hand screens Eat More Kale t-shirts in his Montpelier, Vermont home studio. The slogan uses the wrinkly leafed vegetable as a call to support farmers and other down-to-earth enterprises. When he tried trademarking his slogan this summer, it raised the hackles of Chick-fil-A. The popular fast food chain uses the similar tagline of Eat More Chicken. A lawyer for the restaurant sent Muller-Moore a letter demanding he give up his patent application, claiming it would confuse the public and weaken the sandwich brand.
It's t-shirts and it's chicken sandwiches. It's apples to zebras.
And you've never sold a chicken sandwich in your life?
I have not sold a chicken sandwich, no, and will not.
The legal team also pointed to precedents, saying others who used Eat More as a slogan agreed to cease and desist, including Eat More Goat.
Luckily for the Eat More Kale guy, there's another precedent here. Small Vermont businesses can win these fights against major corporations. Just ask the Rock Art Brewery here in Morrisville.
Can be a kind of a desperate situation for a small guy.
In 2009, the beer maker faced off with Monster Energy. The drink maker claimed Rock Art's Vermonster beer label was just too similar. In the end, Rock Art won, crediting support from its New England fans who told off the national brand.
Stay in the fight with them and help support them as much as you can and tell as many friends as you can.
Such a silly story of corporate bullying.
Bo Muller-Moore is grateful for the support he's gotten and tries reminding himself that David did slay Goliath. He just hopes he's as lucky.
It's not going to be an easy fight, and it's not a done deal, and it's going to cost me a lot. Hopefully it won't cost me my business.
In its legal letter to Muller-Moore, a Chick-fil-A suggested that he simply drop the word more from his slogan, said it would be fine with him using Eat Kale for his trademark application, but as you might imagine, the artist says he does not like that suggestion. Tonight on KRQE News 13 at 10 o'clock, if you take pictures with your smartphone, beware. Those photos may be telling secrets about you that you don't want people to know. That story in my special assignment coming up next on News 13 at 10 o'clock. And that's it for us. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great night.